They say that money makes the world go round, and we don't know about that, but we do know this. Money can make or break a presidential campaign. So you are looking live right now at Radio City Music Hall, the famed venue in New York City, where in just about 90 minutes, President Biden will headline a star-studded campaign fundraiser alongside former Presidents Bill Clinton and Barack Obama. Biden and Obama flew together to New York earlier today. The Biden campaign says the event is expected to bring in a record 25 million Dalai Lamas. Okay, this comes as the Biden campaign and the Democratic National Committee are enjoying a major cash advantage over the Trump campaign and the Republican National Committee. Okay, panel, we've got some people who run for office. We've got some people who are operatives. We got pollsters. This is truly an inside baseball panel.
Yes.
I'm going to start with a very fundamental question. What can money buy in a presidential campaign? $25 million for the president. How important is this money advantage?
I'm going to say getting out the vote is going to be the huge thing.
Yep.
Name ID's already there. People know who both candidates are. Their vote's baked in there. But down the ticket, getting out the vote, making sure that Democrats can retake the House, win the Senate, that's really where the money's at.
I would say when elections are won by 40,000 votes across 4 states, you need an organization on the ground pulling out the votes, even at the presidential level. And when you see the RNC closing out their outreach offices that were actually doing a pretty good job reaching out to Latinos in Florida and other states with large populations of Latinos, that should be worrisome to Republicans across this country because those offices did the job. Biden's going to have the money to offer to put outreach centers out all over this country in swing states.
So we're talking about the ground game, right? That's where this money's going. That's where the difference is going to be
The ground game, yes, but if you look back to 2016, how much of the money helped Hillary Clinton? It didn't.
But the campaign wasn't a smartly run campaign, if I'm being fair. They didn't show
It was your first campaign, right?
Exactly. You have to look not just at the numbers, but how many people are making the donations.
Yeah. People didn't know Trump then. That's probably what helped them the most. But
There's
now
a piece. Everything they just said is correct. There is a piece missing to the conversation, though, which is earned media. Donald Trump got $1 billion of free coverage in 2016.
Okay.
Almost that again in 2020. Both of these candidates, at the end of the day, are going to have enough money to do what they want. What Michael said, I think, is the most interesting, which is the down ticket stuff is going to make a difference, and that's where the cash can be the difference between control of the House and the Senate.
So if the former president is, in fact, spending his money on his legal costs, I mean, it's a strange and unconventional campaign, but these are unconventional times, right? He appears in all these court cases when he doesn't have to. I mean, how much of a drain is that on the Trump campaign?
It works both ways, right? The cash goes to the lawyers, which is bad.
Yeah.
But he has a free press conference every single day, which is good. And it's working for him.
And every time he appears in court, his poll numbers improve.
I think that standing outside the courtroom in a primary maybe works the base up. But I don't think talking about how I just came in here from testifying that I didn't pay off the porn star that I cheated on my wife with after her son was born is going to help him in a general election.
Suburban women outside of Philadelphia.
The election's going to be won on a margin.
But you just
very small amount of people.
But you just admitted it was a get-out-the-vote race.
Yes.
The key is getting your base to show up, which is what those courthouses
And now look at some of the other polling here. 78% of Americans believe there's a two-tier system
I'm a
of justice.
swing voter in Pennsylvania. This guy's sitting in the courtroom. I don't want to lose a single vote, and I think that some of these cases, I think this case in New York City, it wouldn't be the first case ever, but I think this is a damaging case
about hush money in Stormy Daniels. I mean, suburban women outside of Philadelphia.
Wait till the other people he paid off start showing up in court as witnesses and come out and start testifying to cameras outside the courtroom. This is not going to be good for Donald Trump.
But that's a different argument. We're talking about the money now. The money, from a money perspective, he's using it the way he's always done.
But I actually think
I think it was me.
I think Democrats are going to run a very interesting playbook. If you remember the 2012 campaign, Barack Obama got access to his funds before Mitt Romney did because of the way it works with the DNC and the RNC when you get access. I think you're going to see a very similar thing in terms of the DNC now using their funds aggressively early to go out and redefine not just the president, because we know who the president is, but down-ticket candidates, and especially with IVF, really tying that around their neck.
Yes and no. There's a difference between the way the RNC and DNC work a little bit, but that in 2012 had more to do when they were the presumptive nominee. Obama had no primary challengers in 2012, so he was able to move.
But Romney couldn't use access to his funds.
Because he wasn't the presumptive nominee until much later.
But we're not talking about the big
Now
stars.
we're really getting into it.
And Obama.
Yeah, I've heard of them.
Yeah.
$25 million is a lot of money in one night.
And I saw that coming off the
I
airplane.
might have to say, though, it's going to be a stark contrast tonight when you look at Bill Clinton Obama and Biden together, and who's going to seem like the star? I think it's going to actually raise more concern.
You might be surprised by this. I got more than a few emails about this event.
Yeah, so did I.
You were worried that Biden was going to be outshone?
I know. No. I'm not worried. I don't care. Money, $25 million is going to be spent all about talking about Joe Biden. Okay. These guys are going to be big stars saying, Obama to me, Clinton. I got into politics. I became a Democrat because of Bill Clinton. Right? Okay. So, but $25 million buys you a lot of prominence down there.
All right. Okay, we got to...
Thank you for watching, and make sure you go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.